Hey there, welcome back to the channel. I'm DGW. Today I wanted to take a look at what's coming in update 11. It's shaping up to be another huge update for Hell Let Loose, with a variety of new weapons, new vehicles, a long list of bug fixes and improvements, and quite a few meta changes to the game. Now before heading into the video, you know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and above all I'd like to know how you feel about this update. Are you excited or do you think it's gonna be a bummer? Leave your thoughts in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, if you have any questions or suggestions, just drop them in the comments. Now let's get back to taking a look at update 11. There's a long list of improvements and bug fixes to the game that are gonna make this video far too long if I mention them all. So if you want to take a look at all those little changes, just click on the download link in the description below and you will have a full list. The first notable change is gonna be some animations in the main menu. And for those of you who don't know how to select a soldier in that main menu, just go to the barracks and click on the star next to the role that you want to show in your menu. As of update 11, that soldier will not just be standing there, but will have some animations. These animations will also be visible in the loadout screens. What will be a much more impactful change is the nameplate occlusion in-game. This means as soon as a friendly is behind some form of cover, you will no longer be able to see the name tag or nameplate above their heads. First of all, this will declutter your screen, because if you are looking at the main battle from a distance, you have a large number of floating name tags. But many of us have been in the situation where there is a friendly name tag hovering above an enemy soldier and you mistake that to be a friendly soldier. This option is switched off by default, so we'll have to activate it in the menu. For medics, it will be a lot easier identifying which fallen soldier they should help first, as the indicator above that player's head will now start pulsing and will pulse faster as they are approaching death. Now let's have a look at the much more fun stuff. The Americans will be getting the Winchester 1897 trench gun, which is a shotgun. Both the US Engineer level 3 and Assault level 3 will be receiving this gun. But I can see this weapon having a good impact, especially in close quarters combat. The Germans will be receiving the FG42. A scoped version with 10 rounds in the magazine will go to the Sniper level 3, and a version with 20 rounds in the magazine will go to the German Automatic Rifleman level 6. For the Germans, the Panzer tank is no more, but it will be replaced by the Panzer IV. Whether or not we will see a return of the Panzer is yet to be seen, but from the information that I can find is that they want to rework its armor to the latest status of the game. As was promised by the developers in previous iterations of the developers' briefings, we will be getting the offensive version on several new maps, including Purple Heart Lane for the Germans, Foy for the US, Hill 400 for the Germans, and Carentan for the Germans. A lot of players wanted the game to remain historically accurate, and I think with the information that we have on this update so far, that is still the case. One of the most notable additions to the game will be the HALFTRACKS, which will function as mobile spawns. These mobile garrisons are only functional when they are stationary, so can only be spawned upon when they're standing still. But after allowing a wave of friendly soldiers to spawn on a certain location, that half-track can move towards another location and allow a new wave of friendlies to spawn from a different angle. This will really change the flanking options that you have in the game. The Germans will be getting the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251, whereas the Americans and the Soviets are both getting the M3 half-track. US will be having the standard version and the Soviets will be receiving a so-called Lend-Lease version. Lend-Lease was an American government program to provide military aid as well as food, oil, etc. to allies. We will also be getting the 82nd Airborne Pathfinder uniform as well as the frogskin helmet, complementing the frogskin uniform we were shown a few weeks back. As for the Soviets, they will be getting the Plush Palatka cape, of which 2 versions will be available, one for the officers and one for the standard roles. In Black Panther's continuous effort to improve the sound effects of the game, they've also added in some new gun sounds. These include the M1 Garand, the Browning machine gun, the 1903 Springfield MP40, STG and M42. The MP40, Garand and STG will also have different sounds for their reloading. The main difference with these new sounds is that instead of playing as a loop like the previous iterations, every shot is now a single audio file, which will improve the realism greatly. The developers shared the following clip to show you these differences. The second part of the sound effect improvement is the sound occlusion. This basically means that if a sound is obstructed by an object or a wall, you will hear it as a lower volume and lower pitch. From what I could find, this includes explosions, gunfire, but also character animations such as walking. And the third part of these sound effect improvements are the now newly added different sounds for certain areas of vehicles that get damaged. From what I learned, there is now 4 parts of the vehicles that have different sounds when they get damaged. The hull will creak, the turret will grind, the engine will smoke and the tracks will clank. Other impactful changes that you'll not notice instantly are the bomber explosions now deal radial damage to light armored parts of vehicles, which means recon tanks and trucks as a whole, but also the tracks and engines of larger tanks. And for those of you that like playing with AT guns, you are now able to penetrate heavy armor. As of update 11, the final stand commander ability will be removed. Right now it is a ability that can be easily exploited to get a lot of free stuff in the game, and obviously that is not how the game is supposed to work. And as we are talking about command, the encouraged ability will now only add additional resources provided by nodes and no longer for the standard generation of resources. This makes placing nodes more important again, which was kind of downplayed in previous updates. Speaking of nodes and resources, the resource generation of nodes and the standard resource generation are now synced, which means the total generation of resources is now added every minute, whereas now the resources provided by a certain node are added a minute after that node was placed, or a multitude of minutes obviously. Also, the fuel cost for the heavy tank has increased from 400 to 600 fuel and the Jumbo 75 from 300 to 500. And the last really noticeable change has been made to deployables. If, say, an anti-tank wants to replace his IT gun, he no longer has to either dismantle it or hope the enemy blows it up, but as soon as he places a new one, the old one disappears. Let me know down in the comments what you think of these changes, and make sure you check out my tutorial playlist to learn more about different aspects of the game, as well as the general gameplay playlist that I have. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And all that remains for now is to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.